All right. Once a quarter, they get this thing called the 13Fs get filed. So you can see what funds are buying and selling. And there's a whole cottage industry out there for people who do this. For Berkshire Hathaway, what's Warren Buffett buying and selling? It's a little bit different this time because we got a new CEO, Greg Abel. And I want to see what he's been buying and selling here. Matthew Palazzola, he knows. He's a senior analyst covering the insurance biz, including Berkshire Hathaway for Bloomberg Intelligence. So what do we learn from this 13F from Berkshire Hathaway? What does Mr. Greg Abel, the new CEO, what's he doing?
So we never know actually what's happening behind the scenes. They don't talk to analysts. They don't tell us anything. Warren Buffett is still around. He's the chairman. He goes in the office every day. So there could be some fingerprints on this, but maybe not, because the biggest move was a dramatic increase in their stake in Alphabet. So they had about $4 billion, and now they have about $16 billion worth of Alphabet shares. And that was the biggest individual move in the quarter.
And Buffett is known for investing in things he understands. That's kind of how he puts it, right? He wants to be able to understand the business model, and then he's in on it. Does Greg Abel have like a self-professed philosophy on investing?
Same. that was pretty much what he said in interviews, was we think of it the same way. They took this initial Alphabet stake while Buffett was still there last year, but it could have been Abel then. It could have been the investment deputy Ted Welcher. So he does profess we want to understand the businesses. So I guess he understands Google's business.
So any reason to think? First of all, give me what's that cash number that's on the balance sheet that we should?
I believe it's $380 billion. The reported number was too high because they had some settlements in there.
Okay, so give our listeners and viewers a ballpark. $380 billion that they have on their balance sheet that supposedly they're supposed to invest.
Mm-hmm.
Anything, but that's been a problem because you can't find stuff out there that can put a dent in $380 billion.
Correct.
So is there anything that Greg Abel may do to change that dynamic?
So we talked about this before. I think capital return, I mean, so what are you going to do? You're going to buy a whole company.
Yep.
Return capital, which seems to be a no-no. I don't think he's in any rush to buy make a huge splash. And I also don't think, as long as Buffett is there, that he's going to return capital in any meaningful way to investors. So I think we'll see more of the same. I think this was still, so the other story of this quarter is they sold a lot of stock, but that stock they sold was likely positions by one of the former investment deputies who left the firm. So they sold about, I think...
The guy who went to JP Morgan, right?
Yes, Todd Combs. So they sold about $11 billion in positions that I think are related to him. Again, they don't tell you if they are. Mm-hmm. Included in that was a Visa and MasterCard. So they sold a lot in the quarter. The net story then was they actually sold more than they bought. But if they didn't do this, they would have bought more than they sold. So the story is I think it was 14 quarters prior to this, they had sold more than they bought. So that big move, they would have actually been a net buyer of stocks for the first time. And
I remember Warren Buffett a while ago talking about how he was going to go elephant hunting with his hoard of cash. What was the last major acquisition they did make, and how did that go?
So they've bought a couple of sizable things. I mean, like they bought it was $12 billion worth of Google stock in the quarter, right? Okay. They bought a chemical company from Occidental for about $11 billion last year. They bought Allegheny, which was an insurance company, holding company. The owner of
Jeff Kirby,
Squishmallow fame that people go crazy about at the annual meeting. So they've put money to work. It's just they're generating a lot of capital, so it's kind of offsetting. And I mean, they're doing like $10 billion at a clip. Is not insignificant. I think all of those deals. I don't know about the OxyChem deal. That's still ongoing. But I think the Allegheny deal was good for them. It bolstered a bunch of insurance businesses where they could use more scale. And those additional businesses have been good as well.
All right. What else is going on in your world of property and casualty insurance here? I'm looking at the index. It's kind of flat for the year, I guess. Yep. I'm looking at the S&P property and casualty insurance thing, kind of flat.
So we're kind of, so I started my career in the tech boom, and I got deja vu all over again. We're at the mercy of the I guess Stewie robots of the world. Where these names sell off when tech, kind of gets more in favor, risk on. We are going to go into hurricane season. So the forecasts for hurricane season are about average. So, if maybe you want to see me a little bit more, maybe we'll get more activity. I don't know. But you've got two things. So you've got the El Nino effect, and then you've got hot sea surface temps. So hot sea surface temps increase hurricane activity, but the El Nino effect actually decreases it. So we got two kind of countervailing forces going on in the Atlantic, which will kind of net out to probably an average hurricane season. So we'll see what happens.
I've been reading that the AI weather forecasts will make these forecasts a lot more accurate than they have been in the past. So there'll be fewer surprises, or that's what we should expect.
It's possible. I think the thing is, you can have a lot of hurricanes, but they don't really hit high value areas, and it doesn't matter all that much for my companies, or society. Or you can have just one, and it kind of slips through and hits Miami or something like that, and then it's a disaster. I have heard similar things that the AI can help with modeling, but I think there's always going to be the weather wild card.
I live at the beach, but the good news is I live 6 very long blocks from the beach, and they built up the dunes after Sandy that could withstand another Sandy, I think.
Hopefully,
and if you
yeah.
have beachfront property, you don't have ocean view property anymore because they built the dunes up so high, and all the towns along Jersey just said, tough. This is the way it's going to be.
Live with it.
We've had enough bailing you guys out. So Matthew Palazzola, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Senior analyst, property and casualty insurance dude at Bloomberg Intelligence here. Berkshire Hathaway, we got, again,